So my name is Dan Godwin. First off, I'd like to start and say thank you to Councilmember Armato and Campbell. I do appreciate your public service. You guys have been in seat on council for a while now, so I know you guys put a lot of effort into that. First rhetorical question I want to put out there is it necessary? Is it necessary to get taxed more when we already spend or are about to spend $46 million-ish on 1.4 square miles? Is it necessary? So I notice over time that government sometimes becomes delusional with taxes, right? Instead of making the tough decisions to say, okay, we need to cut back, prioritize, figure out where we should put our money, it's tax, tax, tax. So the first slide that you can see in front of you is the cost of living index in the United States as of this first quarter 2022. On the slide, California shows about 140 on a metric or the standard of 100. Some sources say that California is around 150 within the last month or so. So what does that mean? That means California is 50% relatively more expensive than your average American. Next slide, please. All right, Craigslist. 50%-ish of our people in Hermosa rent. So what does this mean? It means with cost of living going up, now that means more expensive housing. Just today, looking up, there's a $3,500 one-bedroom apartment in Hermosa. That's the standard now. We're literally talking $2,500 to $3,500 for a one-bedroom apartment. So that means less money for us to be able to spend on housing, food, groceries, et cetera, et cetera. So again, Craigslist says that it's about $3,400 average rent, at least on Craigslist. Next slide. Consumer Price Index. Okay, this is another way that we measure inflation. You guys are well aware of the news. We are hitting record high inflation over the last 40 years. Year over year, as of June this last month, we've seen an 8.6% increase in CPI. That means less money in our pocket, less purchasing value of our money. And now we want to increase the tax. Next slide. Okay, so I pulled this from one of the California state websites that tracks taxes across California. Obviously, as you get redder, you go more up in tax. This was published last year. But we have about 9.5% tax in the neighboring cities. And so if we increase that tax, it's going to de-incentivize other businesses locally and move them elsewhere. Next slide. Well, anyways, I'd like to thank you for your time. Please reject this proposal. Ultimately, I ask you to challenge the city staff's spending, our revenue sources, and just make the best decision for our community. Thank you for your time.